Hello everyone, nice to meet you. I'm Ukjun Song, working at Seoul National University of Science and Technology, Seoul, Korea. Today, I will introduce Module 2, Korea e-government infrastructure. Module 2 is composed of 3 chapters. Chapter 5, Building Nationwide Information Networks. Chapter 6, E-Government Interoperability and Standard Framework. Chapter 7, Government Information Resources Management. In the Chapter 5, we'll be able to learn nationwide information networks. Through this lecture, learners understand the importance of network as a necessary infrastructure to build an e-government and look into the main development process of network construction and disaster and safety network in Korea. The main contents are as follows. First, computerization of basic administrative work. Second, National Basic Information System project. Third, launching nationwide networking for information. Fourth, establishment of basic infrastructure of the e-government. Fifth, establishment of the broadband convergence network. And last, the disaster and safety network. This module aims to introduce how e-government is technically implemented. As you can see in this figure, a black box is laid in the process of government functions be converted into an e-government service. How will e-government services be implemented? Or what components should be there? In order for e-government to be technically implemented, the following are needed. First, computerization. Most of all, government affairs and documents must be computerized. Second, it is a network. Computerized documents are delivered through the network regardless of time and space. Third, there are hardware and software that make up the application system. At this time, it is necessary to consider common and standard factors for effective system configuration. Fourth is data. Recently, the importance of managing and using data has been increasing.
The development of Korea's e-government infrastructure has been continuously evolving over 5 major periods as follows. In the 1970s and 1980s, computerization of basic administrative work. In the 1980s and 1990s, National Basic Information System, NBIS, project. In the 1990s and 2000s, launching nationwide networking for informatization. In the 2000s and 2010s, establishment of basic infrastructure of the e-government. In the 2000s and 2010s, establishment of the broadband convergence network. And lastly, I will introduce Korea's the Disaster and Safety Network, which has recently attracted attention as a defense against COVID-19. From now on, let's take a look at how the infrastructure has changed in each period. The first period was computerization of basic administrative work in the 1970s to 1980s. For the establishment of e-government, the computerization of administrative work that was done offline must be preceded. In Korea, computerization was carried out specifically as follows. Introduction of computers in 1967. First 5-year master plan for the computerization of administration in 1978 to 1982. Second 5-year master plan for the computerization of administration in 1983 to 1987. Building nationwide information systems in 1980 to 1990s. In 1967, ever since the Economic Planning Board first introduced computers in their work, the use of computers has increased in both the public and private sectors. In the mid-1970s, the Korean government moved beyond simply promoting computer-based administration, focusing on building scientific and efficient administration platforms. In June of 1975, the Ministry of Government Administration announced its Master Plan for the Computerization of Administration. In 1978 to 1982, the government drafted its first 5-year master plan for the computerization of administration in order to comprehensively promote the computerization of administrative tasks that had been sporadically undertaken at the national level. In December of 1982, in the midst of a period of political chaos, the government announced the second 5-year master plan for the computerization of administration. Whereas the first 5-year master plan aimed at automating the unit tasks of each organization with computer-based data processing, the second 5-year master plan had the more advanced goal of connecting each task and process over a computer network. The second period is the 1980s, when the National Basic Information System, NBIS project, the first nationwide network, was implemented in Korea. The NBIS project took place in 2 stages. First stage of the NBIS project took place during 1987 to 1991, and the second stage took place 1992 to 1996. Let's take a closer look. Up until the early 1980s, the computers employed by the government and public institutions were used almost exclusively for simple calculation and office automation. Also, a portion of the investments in relevant computer systems were redundant due to a lack of interconnection between individual systems. To solve these problems, the government, under the strong leadership of the President, initiated plans for the National Basic Information System Project. The National Basic Information System Project was divided into 5 major subsystems along with institutional lines. Those are National Administrative Information System, Financial Information System, Education and Research Information System, Defense Information System, National Security Information System. The National Basic Information System Project was promoted in 2 stages, from 1987 to 1991 and from 1992 to 1996. The first and second stages encompassed large-scale national projects involving 283 host computers, 27,924 workstations, and 2,830 trained professionals. Initially, the total estimated cost of the project was a staggering 760 billion Korean won. The first stage of the National Basic Information System project was carried out from 1987 to 1991 in accordance with the subplans drawn up for the 5 major fields of administration, including finance, education and research, national defense, and national security. The National Administration Information System project put the utmost priority on the computerization of the 6 core tasks that are resident registration, real estate registration, motor vehicle registration, customs clearance, employment, and economic statistics, directly related to public affairs in order to provide people with quick and accurate public services, such as 1. Computerization of resident registration, 2. Computerization of real estate-related tasks, 3. Computerization of motor vehicle registration tasks, 4. Computerization of customs clearance tasks, 5. Computerization of employment management, 6. Computerization of economic statistics tasks. The second stage of the National Basic Information System project, undertaken from 1992 to 1996, sought to realize, by the 2000s, an information society to the extent of advanced countries. The second stage focused on facilitating the shared use of the information systems built by each ministry and successfully completing the National Basic Information System project by enabling a reciprocal operation of the subsystems built during the first stage. The National Administration Information System in the second stage complemented the computerization of the 6 subsystems built in the first stage and encouraged the shared use of the information system by relevant departments. During this stage, the government also focused on another 7 key tasks for enhancing the public's convenience in interacting with the government for services and improving industrial competitiveness, public welfare, and the management of industrial intellectual property rights. The 7 tasks of the Administration Network project in the second stage are in the slide. A full-fledged effort for data communication begins under the nationwide network established by the NBIS project. This is the period of launching nationwide networking for informatization in the 1990s and 2000s. During this period, 3 detailed projects were underway. First, Government Network for Data Communication of Central Government. Second, MOHA-Net for local governments. Third, Korea Information Infrastructure, KII. In particular, from the mid-1990s, the building of the information superhighway that will evolve the Korea network to the next level begins. First, Government Network for Data Communication of Central Government. In June 1970, the first ever data communication was established over a telephone line and a modem between the computer terminal. In 1989, Korea Telecom successfully connected with the International Internet Network using a leased line, ushering in the era of data communication in Korea. In 1994, with the establishment of Korea Telecom's data network, CoreNet, the era of the Internet began in full swing, making it easy for everyone to access and use the Internet. During the first and second stages of the National Basic Information System project, in 1987 to 1996, the government built a data communication network, which was an essential infrastructure for informatization. In 1996, a high-speed network connecting the central government ministries was established. Second, MOHA-Net for local governments. With the completion of the National Basic Information System, local governments began to use computers in earnest, and the construction of information communication networks connecting these computers became imperative. The Ministry of Home Affairs established MOHA-Net, an information network interconnecting the ministry, metropolitan cities, and basic local governments to promote the informatization of local governments. After the establishment of the Local Administration Integrated Information Network, MOHA-Net, the use of the high-speed broadband network increased, and shortly the bandwidth between the ministry and city. Third, building public information and communication network. In 1984, Korea became the second country in Asia, following Japan, to establish a packet-switching public communication network dedicated to data communication. In the late 1990s, with the emergence of high-speed Internet services using ADSL and cable modems, low-cost Internet connections with high speed became available. In 2002, with the frenzied expansion of high-speed Internet networks, the number of broadband Internet subscribers surpassed 10 million, gaining international reputation as a global powerhouse of ICT. In 1993, the new government sought to build an information superhighway capable of transmitting multimedia information, such as voice, data, and video. In 1995, the Ministry of Information and Communication mapped out a comprehensive plan for constructing the infrastructure needed to build an information society. The plan aimed at building a nationwide information communication infrastructure to enable the universal use of broadband ICT services, such as remote education, telemedicine, and telecommuting. Government developed a plan dubbed the Project for Building Korea Information Infrastructure, as known as KII, to connect all government agencies, local governments, and public institutions with fiber optic cables. The plan aimed at building a nationwide information communication infrastructure to enable the universal use of broadband ICT services such as remote education, telemedicine, and telecommuting. The first stage of the KII government rolled out fiber optic backbone network for the information superhighway, resulting in the deployment of a high-speed network in 80 locations nationwide. The second stage of the project focused on expanding coverage and enhancing network service by making a transition from ATM-based backbone network to router-based one as the core network. In the third stage, from 2003 to 2005, a converged broadband multimedia service transmission network was completed, providing transmission speed of tens of GBPs to several TBPs. From 1996 to 2005, the KII project expanded the network subscribers 19 times and remarkably increased network speed. This served as the basic infrastructure for Korea's current e-government. The fourth period is when the network and system for e-government are in full bloom. The Korea Information Infrastructure, as the Information Superhighway project, was completed in 2005. As a result, public institutions were able to start using the services in 2006, and this led to a restructuring of the communication network for administrative agencies into the National Backbone Network, as known as KNET, and the Government Network Service, as known as GNS. At this period, basic infrastructure of the e-government can be divided into the National Backbone Network, KNET, and the Government Network Service, GNS. First, the National Backbone Network, KNET, was established by the Ministry of Security and Public Administration's Integrated Data Center to allow government agencies to share information between them. The network is used for communications between administrative agencies in which internet, business, and voice traffic have been separated to improve quality and stability. Second, the Government Network Service, as known as GNS, is the information and communications service that is exclusively designated for government agencies. GNS was developed in the following three stages. During the first stage, from 2009 to 2012, a nationwide network was established. During the second stage, from 2013 to 2016, a bundled telephone internet service was introduced. During the third stage, from 2016 to 2019, mobile services were introduced. In addition, the Electronic Authentication and Security System was established as the basic infrastructure of e-government during this period. First, Digital Signature Authentication Management System. The distribution of computers and development of information and communication networks have accelerated by the 2000s. As a result, the electronic processing of civil services and e-commerce has also increased. This has led to increased anxiety over potential unauthorized manipulation of documents exchanged electronically. To respond to this situation, the government had prepared to cope with this potential problem by enacting the Digital Signature Act in 1999. The Ministry of Government Administration and Home Affairs introduced the e-government signature, as known as GPKI, for the distribution of electronic documents. GPKI provided the legal grounds for the processing of government services, exchange of e-documents between agencies, and sharing of administrative information over the Internet, and strengthened security. Second, Digital Signature Certificate. The Digital Signature Certificate provides additional features, such as the protection of personal information and a non-repudiation function for e-commerce transaction records compared to the identification method using the ID and password. As such, the use of digital signature certificates became mandatory for Internet banking in September 2002 and online securities trading in March 2003. A total of 35.45 million National Public Key Infrastructure, as known as NPKI, certificates had been issued as of December 2016, with 31.35 million issued to individuals, representing 114% of the economically active population in Korea, 27.44 million persons. Also, the government provides a variety of authentication services, such as government OTPs, as known as one-time password, composite authentication, which is 2 channels, and verification of authenticity of e-documents to strengthen the security of the e-government services. Third, Integrated Authentication System and Information Protection Platform. The government developed a single sign-on, as known as SSO system, for the e-government systems in 2009. The various user authentication and access management schemes used by each administrative agency and business operational system became vulnerable to information leakage. An information system assessment and certification scheme has been in operation since 1998 to introduce security products. In addition, an information security management system, as known as ISMS, has been in operation since 2009. Also, in 2011, secure coding has been mandatorily applied when developing e-government services to eliminate software security vulnerabilities in advance. Even after the 2000s, the evolution of the network as an infrastructure for e-government has been continuing, such as the Broadband Convergence Network, as known as BCN, and next-generation networks like Giga Internet. The Broadband Convergence Network, BCN, is the quality-assured integrated network that can safely provide broadband multimedia services integrating communication, broadcasting, and the Internet. The government announced its plans to construct a broadband IT Korea in 2003 and began building a BCN nationwide in 3 stages from 2004 to 2010. The technology is continuously evolving as next-generation networks such as Giga Internet, broadband networks in rural areas, and IoT are being built. The last infrastructure to be introduced in this chapter is the Disaster and Safety Network. In March 2004, the government enacted the Framework Act on the Management of Disasters and Safety and the Framework Guidelines for National Crisis Management, and devised a nationwide integrated disaster management system as a priority measure for mitigation of disasters. The Disaster and Safety Network enabled disaster response agencies, such as fire departments and the police, to respond collectively in cases of disaster, and for use in disaster management work during ordinary times. The project to construct a single nationwide disaster and safety network is a large-scale 3-year project that will be carried out from 2018 to 2020, with the network coming into pilot operation between 2021 and 2025, and will cost about 1.5 trillion won. Once it is built, it will support communication on conditions at the disaster sites, the damages that have occurred, the management operations, and command between the disaster site and headquarters, and between the officers on site and the disaster agencies. Based on its infrastructure, it is also expected that the Disaster and Safety Network will contribute to not only upgrading disaster safety management, but also fostering new industries and creating jobs through its adoption of major technologies of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, such as IoT, big data, and artificial intelligence. Korea's Disaster and Safety Network has been of great help in successfully curbing the spread of infectious diseases under COVID-19. Through Disaster Alert Transmission System, Korea government operates Cell Broadcasting Service, as known as CBS, to spread the disaster information and response instructions to mobile phone users in affected regions or across the country. This is an overview diagram of the Disaster Alert Transmission System. If you are envisioning the best e-government, think of the importance of the network as the most basic infrastructure. As an infrastructure, the network is the most basic and essential element in the construction of e-government. Invisible doesn't mean it doesn't matter, and invisible might be more important. Continuous maintenance and management are just as important as building an infrastructure. Also, continuous upgrade and management are required as related technology develops. The e-government infrastructure should be approached in terms of investment, not cost. If you want to know the cause of Korea's e-government service excellence, pay attention to the continuous evolution of the most basic network.